I was actually activated for Somalia, and the day we were supposed to ship out the day after the whole Black Hawk Down thing happened, and they froze our orders, and in about, I don't know, a week they told us, no, you're not going nowhere.
Landline now. Welcome back. Lewie Pugh joins me now. He is the Executive Vice President of OOIDA. Lewie, always a pleasure.
Always fun to be here with you.
Now, this week is our Mission Military Appreciation Week. I want to first start off by talking about what that is and why OOIDA makes it a priority to support the men and women who have and continue to serve our country.
Yeah, well, it's part of our Truckers for Troop thing that we started so many years ago. And, of course, Truckers for Troop was started at the time out of need and out of want and out of desire because we were, unfortunately, in some wars on the other side of the pond. And troops, of course, always like letters from home and care packages and stuff like that. So a few people around here thought, Mark Reddick, I think, was the big lead on this, thought it'd be a great idea to raise some money, see if we could get members to help us raise money and send those care packages to folks. So that's how this all started. And it's been very good and very successful. And as we know, just like myself and our president, Todd Spencer, and a few of my board members and a lot of employees around here, a lot of people in trucking are veterans. It's a sort of a natural way to go from being a veteran or being in the military to being into trucking, So it seems to have been. And so with that being said, I mean, I think 40% of our membership is veterans, I think, the last I knew. So, yeah. So, and of course, the one thing about veterans, they like to help other veterans and it's kind of brotherhood and stuff like that. So anyway, that's how this all got started. And members have been very generous, veterans. And, even if they weren't a veteran, we get a lot of people that call in and donate because their family member, whether it was their father, their brother, their sister, their niece, nephew, someone in the family, great-grandpa, uncle, whatever, it was a veteran. So there's somehow that touched their life, and they understood the need for this.
Now, I kind of want to dive into your history. When did you first join the Army?
Valentine's Day, 1992.
Valentine's Day. Well, that's easy to remember.
Easy to remember. I love the Army.
Now, you grew up on a farm, right? So trucking wasn't a foreign concept to you, right?
No, not at all. In fact, my dad drove truck. I mean, my dad was a blacksmith and shod horses, and that was slow in the wintertime, so he would do different things. But a lot of times he drove truck, and then he ended up driving as he got older, and his back wasn't as good as it once was because that's hard work. He became a full-time trucker, and my grandfather, before that, he drove milk trucks and filled in for the milk truck and hauled corn and coal, and my other grandfather was out in Oregon for a while hauling lumber and stuff. So yeah, I've been around trucks one way or another, and a lot of friends and family and all my life.
What was it that made you decide, okay, I'm going to go into the Army?
Oh, it's sort of a family thing. I mean, I was raised where you raise that family. It's what you do. You serve your country, and you be a part. That's how I got no OOIDA. You be a part of things. You be a good student, good community member, and that's just part of it. So I always wanted to be in the military, I guess, but I never thought I didn't want to be and stuff. And my granddad was a veteran of World War II, and way back on my family, and I guess from some books and history and stuff I've read, I'm Scotch-Irish, so we like to fight. So. Plus, where I come from in Appalachia and stuff like that, it just seems just civic pride. It's just what people do. Don't even think about it.
Now, when you went into the Army, did you know you wanted to do trucking in the Army, or how did that come about?
No, I didn't want to be a truck driver in the Army, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, you go back to your previous question of asking me when. I joined the Army before I got out of high school, and I left the day after I graduated for basic D-Day. And because I'd already made up my mind long ago, that's how I was going to go. I always wanted to be a trucker in some time in my life. That's what my goal was. But in the military, I wanted to be an Apache pilot. I wanted to fly the Apaches. I think they're a badass helicopter, and I thought it'd be a badass gig. and I got the ASVAB scores for it, and I go get my physical and my vision, and I've got everything to be an Apache pilot. And I sit down, and like I said, it's a senior year. It's Valentine's Day, my senior year of high school, and I'm over at the MEP station in Pittsburgh. And after go through everything, they sit down. The lady's like, "What do you want to be?" And I said, "I want to be an Apache pilot." I think, and she starts telling me all this school I got to do, all these weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of school. And I'm like, I've been in school for 12 years and I've hated it. I don't want to go to school that much longer. And, 32 weeks of this and blah, blah, all this. And I said, how many weeks of truck do you got to be a truck driver? And she said 6 weeks. I said, I'll be a truck driver. So that's how I became a truck driver. And a heavy haul truck driver is what I originally was. Then they changed the MOS to because there's 2 MOSs to a motor carrier. Everybody was the same, motor carrier transport officer or transport driver or something, but operator, I guess is the right word. But anyway, so yeah, I was a heavy truck driver to begin with. And because like I said, I didn't. And now that I'm, 51 years old, that school didn't seem so long now, and I kind of wish I'd have did it. But hey, if I'd have done that, I'd have probably never had the great trucking career I had and met the people that I've met and ended up here. And so, the Lord works in mysterious ways, and when he shuts a door, he opens a better one. So that's the way I look at it.
Exactly. What did you haul in the Army?
First, we were a HEMA unit. We hauled heavy tanks. Had the big Oshkosh trucks and the Dragon wagons, and hauled Army tanks. And then I became a line haul fuel hauling unit, and that was just sort of like Freightliner road tractors painted camouflage with fuel tanks.
What did you enjoy most about that?
I don't know. The Army was fun. I mean, it was the greatest. I tell everybody, I know there's going to be people out there cringe when I say this, but I think we should have mandatory service. It was the greatest thing for me, not for the discipline, because I grew up in a very disciplined household. So it wasn't for the discipline or the work ethic or that. Where it's helped me in life, and I think it helped me as a trucker to get along, but it's it's really helped me in this job, is there's a lot of people out there who don't think like a boy does from Harrison County, Ohio. A lot of people out there don't think like a boy from the Ohio Valley. We can make it bigger. There's a big old world out here, and there's a lot of different people, and there's a lot of different thoughts. And unfortunately, I think some of us have forgotten that in today's world. We get a little, if you look at social media and stuff, we kind of forget and step on each other's toes. But, that's where it was good, I still remember I hadn't been there in the Army very long, and somebody was going to PX and asked if I wanted something. I told them, get me a can of pop. And they're like, what? I said, a can of pop. And they're like, what's that? I said, you know what pop is? I mean, a can of pop, come on. And they're like, no, I said like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and they're like, you mean soda?
Oh, no.
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 So that was like, but I mean, that's just one thing that sticks in mind. But, I met people from all over the United States. There was a couple folks from Puerto Rico in my basic training unit, and then it's on. And, if people, without getting too deep into this and making too many people mad, if you take politics and all this stuff out of life, I don't really care where you're from or who you are or what race you are or what everything. People get along and do a job, and the military's proof of it. I mean, sure, there was dumb stuff happening. People said dumb things. There's always going to be dumb people out there, and it doesn't matter what we regulate or legislate. There's always going to be stupid people. But at the end of the day, everybody got along. We had a job to do, and I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed the military, and I wish I probably wouldn't have got out. Some of the political changes that were going on at the time and some of that stuff, and I'd went into the reserves, and I'd bought a truck, and my life was getting crazy, and I wish I wouldn't have got out. And then I was going to get back in, but then I'd gotten married, and my ex-wife didn't think that was a good idea, and I probably should have went went in sooner. But that's a whole nother story. But no, I loved it. I loved the trucks. I loved the equipment. A lot of cool experiences. Got to see a lot of fun things. I was very much blessed. I never had to leave the good old U.S. of A. So I just had a lot of fun. I was blessed that way. And you know, I was actually activated for Somalia. And the day we were supposed to ship out the day after the whole Black Hawk Down thing happened, and they froze our orders. And in about, I don't know, a week, they told us, no, you're not going nowhere. So, but anyway, that was the closest I was. I was in from 1992 to 1998, so not much happened in there in between politically or anything. So I was blessed, but it's a great life lesson, and I don't care who you are. There's something for everybody in the military, and that's why I said it. I know people cringe when I say, but it should be mandatory, but it's because it gets you away from home. You learn about different people. You learn different things. Some people, it does teach them better discipline. Some people, it gives them better work ethic. There's all kinds of things that you can get out of there, and if you take advantage. And if you're shrewd and a thinker, it's really not that hard.
Yeah. Now, when you got out of the military, how long before you got into a truck?
Well, I actually went to reserves and was a truck driver in reserves, and I started driving truck on my 21st birthday over the road. I got my CDL from being in the military, and I continued. I was in reserves for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, and I had already but I had my own truck and everything by the time I got out in 19, because I bought my first truck in, I think, 95, 96, and I didn't get out till 98 when my enlistment was up.
And how long did you truck until you came here?
I started trucking in 1994 over the road, and I came here in 2017.
Oh, wow.
So was that 23?
That's a good chunk of time. Yeah,
something like that. And I trucked in the Army before that for 2 or 3 years, and then grew up on a farm and did a little trucking around in the farm stuff.
What did you haul over the years after you were out of the Army?
Pulled a flatbed mass majority of my career. That's what I always wanted to do. I'm from the VAT, where I came from. Growing up, you either pulled a flatbed and hauled steel, or you pulled a bucket and were a coal truck. It seemed like I didn't know there was any other kind of trucks till I was probably 15 or 16 years old. That's all you ever saw. But at nighttime, you saw the steel haulers, and at daytime, you saw the coal haulers. But with that being said, I pulled a flatbed, hauled a lot of steel, flatbed commodities, and taught there for a long time. I had a gig with GE Water, hauling water treatment chemicals in like 300-gallon totes. Pulled a little van, a little tanker, and almost the last year I was trucking, I was hauling frac sand, because the Marcellus Shale's right back where I'm from at home, and I was hauling frac sand at Oilfield.
Mm-hmm. I guess overall, when you look back on your career, and obviously you're still in it, you're not that old. I guess what comes to mind in everything that you've gotten to experience?
I'm a truly blessed person. That's what comes to mind. Mm-hmm. I tell that to everybody. I'm truly blessed. I've had a wonderful life. If I die tomorrow, I got no complaints. And I probably should have some regrets. I reckon we all got some kind of regrets, but I've had a much better life than I probably deserved. And I think we all probably, in some way, form, or fashion, we do. But yeah, when I look back, I'm truly blessed. I'm continually blessed by getting to work here. I've gotten to do some amazing things and meet some amazing people. And I just hope that in all of this, I've helped people along the way, and that they can be as blessed as I have.
And one, other thing, I know we mentioned this during this, but there is a huge connection between the military and trucking, when it comes to men and women serving, whether it be behind a wheel or overseas. Talk to me about that connection.
I just think because people, when you truck, you got to think on your own. You got to think on your feet. You got to, you don't have somebody holding your hand. And it's the same way in the military. And you have to, although you have people over you, but you train to where you can do without even thinking about it. It's just second nature. I think people go to the military more independent minded, even though you don't seem like it when you're in basic training and stuff, but you're more an independent, self-starting kind of person a lot lot of times. And people in military are, you travel around, you move around a lot. No rolling stones grow no moss, and I think it's the same in trucking. You're kind of nomads.
Yeah. All right. Lewie, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me, and thanks to all the truckers out there. We appreciate what you do, and please be safe.